Come on, MultiT0mT0m. Where on earth is that undebunkable video that you promised to give to me? Make yourself at home, guys. So I had a look at MultiT0mT0m's channel because the silence is deafening with regard to this undebunkable video he promised me. And I had a look through the comments, and in one he declared that his videos are for people 200 to 300 years in the future. They will be shown in schools and universities. People will stand on my shoulders. They will declare that I was the greatest thinker that ever lived. They will thank me for explaining the natural world. Well, a whole group of people who I don't think are going to be bothering to thank you, MultiT0mT0m, are my amazing patrons. With massive thanks to all my patrons, including new patrons Nicola Redmond, AZ Atheist, Grumpy Old Man, Hugh Jast, Larry XK, Yuha Escalinen, Purple Rhymes with Orange, Tim Nicholas, Roy C and Patricia DeSangeles, and my latest patrons, the Key Weasel and Lucas Hoy. Thank you all so very much. So, Mr. World's Greatest Thinker, failing your undebunkable video, I chose another one of your videos. Let's have a look what you can tell us about the water cycle. Roll VT.
We have all been shown a diagram like this, or a similar one to this, when we're at school.
Yup.
They claim this is the water cycle of the Earth.
Oh, for goodness sake. So you're going to tell us you don't believe it? They claim. So now, as well as a flat Earth conspiracy, we've got a cycle of the water conspiracy. Why the hell wouldn't they just tell you the truth? Why would they tell you and try and hide the way that water cycles through the environment?
This is fine when you are a child and you are just beginning to experience the world, or are about to learn about the world outside. But once you grow up and become an adult and start to think for yourself.
But I don't think you ever have really thought for yourself, have you?
Certain things just do not make any sense.
Well, I guess for you, the certain things that don't make sense are likely to be complicated things like door handles, curtains, and teaspoons.
They explained that water evaporates over the ocean and form into clouds, which then are transported over the land, and moisture contained within it condenses into rainfall and falls down as rain.
I think she's got it. I think she's got it. By George, she's got it. By George, she's got it.
The rain gains momentum and form into rivers, which are in turn returned to the oceans, and the whole cycle starts again. But there is one problem with this explanation.
I know. It uses big words like evaporation and condensation.
And that is, there isn't enough rainfall to sustain all the oceans of the world. The worldwide rainfall for a calendar year is so tiny compared to the required amount to sustain the oceans.
Sustain the oceans? What exactly do you think is happening to them?
This would in fact dry out the oceans of the world.
Well, I'm concerned about the number of sponges there are in the sea. Just imagine them soaking up all that ocean.
You must agree that water is always moving. This ocean current chart shows the direction of the flow of ocean currents. Even in lakes such as the Great Lakes of the North America or the lakes of Middle Asia, water is always moving, caused by wind or other means.
Well, unless you're going to be talking about things like monsoons, etc., I think you're starting to get a little bit off topic, aren't you?
Science also tells us that our Earth is composed of 70% water and 30% land.
Oh, does it? Are you sure it doesn't actually teach us that the surface is 70% covered in water? That's a bit different than the Earth being composed of 70% water.
So in that respect, our world is a water world.
And yet, you are apparently worried about the oceans drying up.
Even if you are in the middle of a desert and you need water, if you dig deep enough, you will finally hit water.
Well, that's true for many places, but you do realise that in the area of, say, the Sahara, you're going to have to dig between 100 and 250 metres. That's quite a hole to dig when you're just feeling a bit thirsty.
There is a pressurized water system underground, and that is also moving. The geysers are proof of this pressurized water system.
That is not how a geyser works. This is how a geyser works. Water seeps down through the ground until it reaches rock that's heated by magma. But the water in the column leading to the surface is relatively cool, and it presses down, much like the lid of a pressure cooker. The water in a reservoir eventually becomes superheated, and the water in a column rises in temperature until that boils and froths at the surface. We reach a point where the weight of the water in the column is not enough to hold back the pressure of the superheated water, which flashes into steam, boils violently throughout the column, and the boiling water and steam sprays out of the vent of the geyser. Geysers are quite rare, only occurring generally in volcanic areas with magma near the surface.
This pressure system is also responsible for plate tectonics movement.
Just know, whatever pressure the water in underground aquifers is, that is nothing to do with plate tectonics. That's an entirely different subject.
When they build up pressure together with the crude oil, they have to release its energy, and this is done across the world where there are fault lines.
Look, you just really don't know what you're talking about there. Get back onto the water cycle, please.
This underground pressure system is also responsible for the large amounts of water that come down over the great rivers.
I really don't know what you're waffling about there, but I would like to warn everybody to get facepalm protection ready.
Contrary to what they say, it is not rainwater, nor melted ice cap water that forms into rivers. For generations, human beings have pondered what the clouds are, its composition, etc. Clouds are not water, nor are they water vapor. They are completely different element.
I'm ready.
For the first time in human history, I will now explain what clouds are and how they are created.
Cups of tea and coffee away from your keyboards, please, and make sure your monitor is not in punching range.
Red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert.
Clouds are a byproduct of the aurora borealis and the aurora australis.
Ow!
Clouds are created at the northern and southern edges of the Earth.
Oh, come on, Tom. You're just making crap up. Otherwise, how could it be the case that you can have clouds anywhere near the equator, or even just the tropical regions, without all those clouds having passed over areas further north or further south?
Mr. Sensible, I used to have a cousin who was as dumb as the sky. We all used him as a waste paper basket.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, Prof. Go on, Tom, you better finish off.
These are results of electromagnetic radiation. These radiation bursts are sent out across the sky. And when these energy bursts reach far enough out of the energy zone, they form into clouds.
Logic failure. Then how can you get clouds in the extreme north or the extreme south?
They do not carry water nor water vapor.
Go on then. You better tell us what they are.
They dissipate into the sky like magic.
Well, I'm starting to lose the energy to live listening to you.
Finally, I must explain how rain is formed.
Well, since you're supposed to be teaching us the real water cycle, that would probably be a good idea.
They are not formed by clouds.
Oh, this is going to be good. Come on, TomTom, please serve us an assortment of words and concepts that you don't understand.
Rainfall is simply when all the moisture in the air travels from high pressure into low pressure in the atmosphere. This causes the moisture to gain weight, to become water. Vapor becomes water, and because it's heavy, water is heavier than the air surrounding it, it falls down as rain.
Okay, so it's moisture in the air turning to water, getting heavy and falling down, and it's nothing to do with clouds. Have I got that right?
This is the simplest of explanations.
And you, sir, I'm afraid, are the simplest of flat earthers.
I will admit, however, that there is a high concentration of clouds when it rains.
Well, slap my arse and call me Shirley. Who would have thought that?
This is a result of the activities of the Aurora Borealis and Australis.
Nice recovery.
These clouds act as a buffer above the rain. If you do the simplest of investigations,
MultiT0mT0m, you could have saved yourself quite a bit of embarrassment.
then you will find out that the amount of rainfall in the world is not nearly enough to sustain the oceans of the world.
Well, TomTom, you haven't actually explained why the oceans need sustaining or how much water is required to sustain them. But if you had an inch of rain falling on 1 square mile of land, that gives you 17,380,000 gallons of water. And in an average year across the mainland United States, you get 30 inches of rain, and that equates to 1,430 cubic miles of water. That's quite a lot.
So we have to go back and redraw this diagram for our children. Teach them the truth, the real world we live in.
Well, MultiT0mT0m, I don't think that the educational establishments are going to be coming to you to design a new diagram for the water cycle. I mean, it would appear to most people that you're not too bright, but I did notice another one of your comments where you said the trouble is that you don't recognise a genius in your midst. Well, you got that right, TomTom. I don't recognise you as a genius in our midst. I hope you all enjoyed it. Until next time, stay sensible.
Shut up and sit down.